This is the Dive Into Discovery podcast, where curiosity meets insight, and every conversation uncovers a new layer of understanding.
Welcome to our deep dive. This time, it's the Voynich Manuscript, a centuries-old puzzle. It's baffled experts for, well, a really long time. It almost feels like, something right out of a Dan Brown novel, all mysterious and coded.
Yeah, and we're not just talking about like a few cryptic symbols here and there. This is a whole book, hundreds of pages, intricate illustrations, and a script that seems like a language, but one that nobody understands.
We've got a lot of different sources for you today. We'll be looking at historical accounts, some of the scientific analyses, even just the wide range of theories that people have come up with.
Got to try to sort through it all, right? Separate fact from fiction. And there's been a lot of speculation about this manuscript.
Yeah, for sure. So let's start with what we know, just the basics.
Okay, so the manuscript itself was discovered in 1912 by Wilfrid Voynich, a rare book dealer. Hence the name, the Voynich Manuscript.
Right, of course.
And we know from carbon dating that it was created sometime between 1404 and 1438. So that puts it right in the heart of the early Renaissance, a time of, huge intellectual and cultural change. A lot going on.
But instead of documenting all that, instead of writing about like new continents or scientific discoveries, this manuscript presents us with an entirely unknown language. Voynichese, yeah, and that's really where the mystery begins. Linguists, codebreakers, even the NSA have tried to decipher it. But so far, nothing.
It's speaking a language from another world.
And it's not just the language, right?
Yeah.
To make things even weirder, it's filled with these bizarre illustrations.
Bizarre is putting it lightly.
I mean, they're detailed and peculiar. You've got plants that don't seem to match any known species, diagrams that resemble astronomical charts. There are even, and this is the one that always gets me, there are these illustrations that appear to be women bathing in these interconnected pools. It's all just, it's strange.
It really is.
Yeah.
Someone put a lot of work into these illustrations. I mean, if it's a hoax, that's a lot of effort,
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's so meticulously crafted that it makes you wonder, what if this is real? What if it is a genuine attempt to record knowledge? Like a scientific text or a medicinal treatise, something like that.
Lost to time.
Lost to time, exactly.
Or maybe something more esoteric, like an alchemical text. Alchemy was, it was a pretty big deal during the Renaissance.
Oh, absolutely. Alchemy was everywhere. And the possibility of this being an alchemical text, it's really intriguing. Those complex diagrams, the recurring references to herbs, it all kind of fits.
It's like we have this book, a mysterious book written in an unknown language, filled with fantastical images, and naturally everyone has a theory.
Of course.
Right.
Some of those theories are, well, they're definitely more far-fetched than others. You've got your alien messages, lost continents, even time travel. But for now, let's stick to the more plausible explanations.
Okay, sounds good. So one of the leading theories, one of the most plausible ones at least, is the cipher theory. The idea that Voynichese is a code, a secret language waiting to be unlocked.
Makes sense, right? Codes and ciphers. During the Renaissance, they were everywhere. Rulers, scientists, religious groups, they all had reasons to protect their knowledge and communications. So a ciphered text, it fits.
But some ciphers are, pretty simple, like substitution codes.
Yeah.
Others use like complex math or these multi-layered systems. So if Voynichese is a cipher, it might be one we've never seen before, which I guess would explain why it's been so difficult to crack.
Exactly.
So even with modern cryptography, even with computers helping us, we haven't been able to really make much progress in deciphering Voynichese.
It's true, yeah. It's resisted a lot of attempts at decryption.
Yeah.
And that's really what makes it so unique and so fascinating. It just doesn't quit.
Doesn't quit. But some people believe it's all an elaborate hoax.
Yeah.
Right? Something made to fool people.
Yeah, the hoax theory definitely has its proponents. Forgeries and hoaxes were not uncommon during the Renaissance. Imagine someone creating this manuscript, filling it with gibberish and bizarre drawings, trying to pass it off to a wealthy patron as some kind of, lost work of ancient wisdom.
But it's almost too perfect, isn't it? The detail, if it's a hoax, it's an incredibly good one. What do you think makes it so convincing, even to us now, centuries later?
It's the level of detail, the internal consistency, the sheer amount of work that went into creating it. It's pretty easy to see why people would believe it's something more.
So we're back to square one, real or fake. And if it is real, what does it mean? It's like we're at the foot of a mountain looking up, not sure how to even start climbing.
Which brings us to another theory, one that ties into the alchemical themes we discussed earlier. What if, and this is where things get really interesting, what if the Voynich manuscript isn't meant to be read literally? What if it's symbolic, allegorical?
Ooh, okay. Now we're talking. But we'll have to save that for next time. Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive into the Voynich manuscript, where we'll explore more theories and delve deeper into its, well, let's just say, its enigmatic history.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Voynich manuscript. Last time, we sort of set the stage, right? Explored the history, the mysteries, and some of those big theories surrounding this captivating book. We talked about ciphers, hoaxes, even alchemy.
We did, yeah, and we touched on the fact that people are still actively trying to decode it, to break this thing. And they're using some pretty amazing techniques, I gotta say.
For sure. They're bringing in the big guns, right? Science and technology.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the most promising fields, I think, that's being applied to the Voynich manuscript is forensic linguistics.
Forensic linguistics. Okay, now that sounds serious. What exactly is that? And how do you even apply that to something like this? Well, think of it like detective work, but for language, right? So you're using linguistic analysis in legal contexts, like, analyzing written documents to determine authorship or uncovering hidden meanings, that kind of thing.
So in the case of the Voynich manuscript, they're trying to analyze the structure of Voynichese itself, looking for clues about the language.
Exactly. They're looking at patterns of letters, words, searching for anything that resembles, I don't know, grammatical rules, syntax, maybe even hints of a known language family. It's kind of like trying to piece together a jigsaw puzzle, but you don't have the box. You don't know what the picture's supposed to look like.
That sounds like a pretty monumental task.
Yeah.
I mean, if Voynichese is really unique, is it even possible to decipher?
It's definitely a challenge. But, and here's what makes it so intriguing, while Voynichese is unlike any known language, it does exhibit patterns that resemble natural language. So that suggests that it's not just random gibberish, there's structure there, a system waiting to be understood.
Can you give us an example of what you mean by those patterns? Like, what kind of patterns are we talking about?
Sure, yeah. So researchers have observed, for example, repeating words and phrases within the text, something that you would expect to find in any functioning language, right? And the arrangement of these words, it suggests as an underlying grammatical structure, like a set of rules governing how they're combined. And that gives us hope that Voynichese is, it's a real attempt to communicate something, not just a random collection of symbols.
So it's more than just finding a one-to-one substitution for each symbol. There's something more complex going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's incredible. So what other approaches are being used to unlock these secrets?
Well, another powerful tool is computational analysis. So researchers are now able to feed the entire Voynich text into computers, and they can run these sophisticated algorithms and statistical analyses on it.
So it's like we're using the brute force of technology to crack this centuries-old safe.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. These programs, they can analyze the text at a level of detail that would take, humans' lifetimes to achieve. They can identify statistical anomalies, mathematical sequences, maybe even potential cipher keys that are hidden within the structure of the text.
Wow, that's remarkable. Has any of this yielded any results? Are we any closer to solving it?
There have been some, I'd say, tantalizing leads, some intriguing theories, but nothing conclusive yet. Some researchers believe they've identified words or phrases that might correspond to known languages. Others have found mathematical patterns that point to a complex cipher, but none of these findings have been, I guess, universally accepted.
So the Voynich manuscript remains a challenge, even with all our modern tools and techniques. Doesn't mean we should give up, though, right?
Oh, absolutely not. No. I mean, think of all the scientific breakthroughs that were once considered impossible, right? Who knows what advances might be just around the corner. The solution might be right there, just waiting for the right person to see it.
It's that enduring mystery, that sense of the unknown. That's what keeps us coming back to this, isn't it? It's a challenge.
It is, yeah. It really is.
And speaking of defying easy answers, I think it's time to delve into some of the more unconventional theories that have been proposed, right?
Yeah.
The ones that venture into the realm of, I don't know, speculation and imagination.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, buckle up, because one particularly intriguing though highly speculative theory proposes that the Voynich Manuscript is a message from an extraterrestrial civilization.
Aliens. Really? Now that's thinking outside the box.
It is, and they often point to the manuscript's strange illustrations, particularly the ones depicting, plants and objects that seem to defy, I guess, earthly classification. They argue that these images, they could represent alien flora and technology.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see how those illustrations would spark the imagination. But what about the language itself? Would aliens be writing in Voynichese?
Those who believe in the extraterrestrial theory, they suggest that the text isn't meant to be read literally. They propose that it requires a special key, maybe mathematical or symbolic, that only a highly advanced alien civilization would possess.
It's a fun thought experiment.
Yeah.
But I'm a little skeptical. What other strange theories are there? What else is out there?
Well, another intriguing one is the idea that the Voynich Manuscript is a record of time travel or interdimensional communication. That's a good one.
Okay, I like that one. Time travel, interdimensional communication. Keep going.
Yeah. This theory stems from certain elements in the manuscript that seem I guess out of sync with the time period it's believed to have been created, right? And researchers call these anachronistic elements. It's like pieces of a different puzzle somehow found their way into this
Those
one.
anachronistic elements, yeah. Can you give us an example of what you mean? What would that look like?
Sure. So some of the astronomical diagrams, for instance, they appear to depict constellations that wouldn't have been known in the 15th century, and certain technological devices, they're depicted in the illustrations, but they seem far too advanced for the time period.
So they're saying the author somehow had access to, I don't know, to knowledge from the future or from another dimension.
Yeah, and the manuscript it's a record of their experiences or communications. I mean, it's a fascinating idea, right? Albeit highly speculative. Of course, there's no concrete evidence, but that's part of what makes the Voynich Manuscript so captivating. It makes you think beyond the boundaries of what we know to consider these possibilities that we might otherwise just dismiss.
It's a good reminder that there's still so much we don't know about the universe, about our own history, about everything, really.
It really is. It's humbling.
It is, yeah. And while these fringe theories, they may not hold much weight scientifically, they speak to, I don't know, the power of the Voynich Manuscript to capture our imaginations.
Or to do.
It encourages us to, I don't know, think creatively, explore possibilities that lie beyond what we think we know.
Yeah. Absolutely. Even if they turn out to be nothing more than flights of fancy, they do enrich the experience of engaging with this mystery.
They do. But let's get back to the core questions here, right? We've explored its history, the main theories, the modern day attempts at deciphering it.
Right.
But the big question remains, even if we never crack the code, even if we never figure it out, what can the Voynich Manuscript teach us? Is it anything more than a historical oddity, a curiosity that's just captured our attention for centuries?
That's a great question, and it's one that we'll address when we come back for the final part of our deep dive. We'll explore the deeper implications of the Voynich Manuscript, what it reveals about human nature and our desire to make sense of the world around us.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the Voynich Manuscript. It's been a journey, hasn't it? All these mysterious origins, the illustrations, all the theories people have come up with. We've talked about ciphers, hoaxes, even aliens, time travel.
It has been quite a ride, a real testament to the power of this manuscript, how it captures our imaginations, how it challenges us.
We've covered a lot, but now I think it's time to ask the big question.
Yeah.
Why does this even matter? Is the Voynich Manuscript anything more than just a historical curiosity?
That's the question, isn't it? And I'd say it's definitely more than just a curiosity. The Voynich Manuscript, whether we decipher it or not, it offers us insights into human nature, our desire for knowledge, the limits of our understanding.
It's captivating, for sure. But beyond the intrigue, is there something more we can take away from it?
Think about it this way. This manuscript, it's captivated people for centuries. It's inspired, countless hours of research, debate, speculation. Why? Because it's the ultimate puzzle. It's a challenge to our intellect.
You're naturally drawn to the unknown, to the
Yeah,
mystery.
exactly. It's part of what makes us human, right? That drive to explore, to understand, to make sense of the world.
So even if we never, fully solve the puzzle of the Voynich Manuscript, the very act of trying to decipher it, it teaches us something.
Of course it does. It teaches us about, I don't know, our persistence, our ingenuity, our willingness to grapple with the unknown. It's a testament to human curiosity. And it reminds us that, there are still mysteries out there. The world is full of unanswered questions.
It encourages us to keep asking questions, to challenge assumptions.
Exact.
To push the boundaries of what we think we know.
Right, exactly.
Let's think about the Voynich Manuscript specifically.
Yeah.
What can it tell us about the past? About, the time period when it was created?
It gives us a really fascinating glimpse into the intellectual landscape of Renaissance Europe, a time of, huge change, upheaval. And remember, this was an era when alchemy, astrology, all these esoteric practices, they were still a big part of mainstream thought.
Right. That was a time when science and magic and religion, they were all kind of blurred together.
Exactly. And the Voynich Manuscript, with its strange illustrations, the cryptic text, it fits right into that. It reflects a world where, knowledge was often hidden, shrouded in secrecy, where codes and ciphers were used to protect valuable information.
So it's like a window into a different way of thinking.
Precisely.
So even if it turns out to be, some elaborate deception, a hoax, it still holds historical value.
Absolutely. Even a hoax can tell us something. It can reveal, the prevailing beliefs, the cultural anxieties, the things that people were willing to believe in.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. So the Voynich Manuscript, it's a historical artifact regardless, right? It's a product of its time.
It is, and that's why it continues to, to fascinate us, to challenge us, to inspire us to think differently.
It reminds us that history is full of mysteries, and that sometimes the most intriguing ones are the ones that stay unsolved.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Voynich Manuscript, I gotta ask, if it were to be deciphered tomorrow, what kind of knowledge would you hope to find?
That's a great question. I think I'd be most intrigued to discover if it represents a genuinely lost branch of knowledge, some scientific or philosophical system that's been forgotten.
Now that would be something.
Imagine the insights.
Yeah. But even if it's something more mundane, like a personal journal or something, the very act of deciphering it, that would be a huge achievement.
Oh, it would be monumental. A real testament to human ingenuity.
Well, there you have it, the Voynich Manuscript, a centuries-old puzzle. We may never know for sure what secrets it holds, but the journey itself, the exploration, that's a reward in itself.
And who knows, right? Maybe someone listening right now, maybe they hold the key to unlocking this mystery. If you're feeling inspired to delve deeper into this captivating enigma, we'll be sure to include some links to resources in the show notes. Happy exploring, everyone.
What did you think of this week's episode? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to join us next time as we dive even deeper. And as always, stay curious, because you never know what discoveries are just around the corner.